Dziennik Eugeniusza Rudnika, strona 5. Dźwięk znajduje się i rozgrywa w trójwymiarowej przestrzeni. Dźwięk może być opisany przez 3 wielkości, które można sobie wyobrazić. W postaci odcinków odłożonych na osi czasu, osi częstotliwości i osi dynamiki. W ten sposób powstaje geometryczny obraz dźwięku, struktury o pewnej objętości.
The problem with Eugenisz Rudnik was that he is very conscious, because he is a person, he was a person who was on so many film sets and did music to so many films, and no directors, no camera work. He perfectly knows what the cinematographer does when just looking at the camera. So he is knowing if the cinematographer wants to be close or wants to be far away, so he can act. So my biggest challenge was how to put him in this intimacy of his work while having the crew around him shooting him. And it was very emotional work. Like, it took a lot of discussions and a lot of situations like, okay, we don't shoot, I go home. And a lot of like, why we shoot it this way and the other, and so what should I play? And a lot of, this emotional situations. But on the other hand, what is really what was my weapon is that when the artist starts to work, it's more important for him or her than what's going around. So once I got Rudnik start to work, I was there. I mean, we could shoot. And I couldn't have the communication with Zvika or with sound recording, because it was a very tiny room. So we need to discuss everything before. And so, because we knew that Rudnik has like 3 days session, so for example, we had the day that I said, okay, today we shoot only his body, like if he is excited, how his ear is reacting, how his hands, how his breath. You have to be totally concentrated on his body language, on his body movement. The other day I said, today we are concentrated only about technique, like what kind of, movement he does and uses and tapes. You just like shoot the objects, not him. And that's how we work. Like I choose every time like the theme of the picture. Yes, I was looking for a way, for a method, how to work on a film which is about sound, which is about music. So I had to find a way how to communicate with the cinematographer, with Zvika. And obviously the way of, kind of telling the stories would bring something impressive, but impressionist, like something which is only a fruit of my communication, of my imagination with his, and I wanted it to be rooted in the music of Rudnik. I wanted us, I mean, me and Zvika, which is me and the cinematographer, to find a way to to be inspired simultaneously by the sound and to discuss what kind of image we can build, we can find for this sound. So what I did two things. First one was to, I kind of edit 70 minutes, which would be the sound film or the soundtrack of the film, which was sound, let's call it music, like the experimental music, which is not always melody and music. Sometimes I used also the sounds from Rudniks' recordings and what he does say about it, because when I interviewed Eugenisz Rudniks, I asked him piece by piece what was it about, what was the inspiration, why he chose such a sound, why he got the idea of such a transformation of the sound. So I tried to get as close as possible to his method, and then I connected parts of the interview with the pieces of music. And that was like about 70 minutes of kind of soundtrack of the film. And the second thing we did, having this soundtrack, was making a lot of video research. Like I would say to Zwika, you know what, I think that we need to desocialize the image. Like if we shoot in the city, always when you see the human being, it starts like a story, and we wanted to avoid the story, but human being is so strong in the cinema that it evokes the thinking about story in the viewer. So, for example, we got the thing that you have to cut off the horizontal line. You can't see the horizon, like the line when people meet the ground, when buildings meet the ground, you always have to be above or beyond this line. Then it starts to be more composition, like more abstract image. So we did a lot of video research. I mean, Zwika went to the city looking for images. What I would tell to him, like I said, like, you know what, I need the shape of the sound. So this is more or less the way how we worked on looking and searching for the image to the film. It was like, 3 years of working with the hope we will have a budget, only on the fuel of fascination and, I don't know, faith that it will happen. It is also what Rudniks' philosophy is very much about, because Eugenisz Rudnik by himself was a technician when he came to the radio, and then he was a sound designer in the radio, and it took him really years, about 20 years, to be recognized as an artist, because everyone said, well, this is just editing, it's not art. When Rudnik told me about how he composed the music to the film, he said to me that 90% of his work was working on quiet, loud, if it's louder or more quiet. This is key to the film. So we knew from the beginning that the final copy will be digital. And it's not so easy when you think about analog sound on tape to digitalize it, because you always lose part of information. We are used to very much, when we have CD or files today, to the kind of clear, not analog sound. We kind of would think is a distraction if you would have too much distortion. But this music is very often based on distortion, on the, on mistake. So we did it again, and there was again this question how we cut the distortions. Which distortion is a technical distortion and which one is artistic one, which is supposed to be in. What I knew I need to have is a film, and film does not goes like music, interview, music, interview, music, interview, because you need to build all the landscape in the sound. You need to build a world. I remember when we finished to edit it with Mateusz, we said, well, it's a pity we did this film because it would be such a pleasure to watch it. So yes, I think that this 4 years, now I'm close to the moment when I will be able, because I don't remember anymore, everything, I hope so, every single shot. I hope people will use headphones, good ones. And I know that there is no other way today, because, well, it's great people still go to the cinema, and I want them, and I want myself also to go to the cinema, because this is something different, not only because of the quality of sound and picture, but because of this, social experience of being in darkness together with other people and watching something, not talking, not being in interaction, just, it's very intimate situation, and I think we need this situation very much, and that's why cinema is so great. But on the other hand, well, I watch so many films on streaming in the internet just because, and it makes possible for me to watch a film which will never, I don't know, Brazilian film which will never have distribution in the cinema in Poland. I'm so happy when the Brazilian cases, because I remember someone from Brazil writing to me that she saw the film on the VOD. And I was like, this is great. Someone was so patient to look for the film about sound and just watch it, because out of passion, out of, need to watch such a film. So that's why streaming is great.